Micro-composting magic dollar store bins can become black humus and give your garden an FPJ boost. If you garden in a small space, you've probably been told, directly or indirectly, that real composting just isn't for you, that you need a big pile, a backyard, or, some fancy equipment. At Soilsage Chronicles, we challenge that idea every single season. Some of the richest, darkest, most life-filled soil I've ever worked with didn't come from a massive compost heap. It actually came from a humble plastic bin tucked into a corner. In this article, I'm going to walk you through micro-composting the right way, how to turn inexpensive Dollar Tree-style bins into true black humus, and how to pair that solid soil foundation with FPJ, or fermented plant juice, boosts that actually make a visible difference in plant health. No myths, no vague advice, just methods that work, whether you're growing in containers, raised beds, or a tiny backyard plot. What micro-composting really means, and why it works, is pretty simple. Micro-composting isn't about shrinking composting down and just hoping for the best. It's about controlling biology in a small volume. When you understand that composting is a microbial process, not a size contest, everything changes. In a small bin, decomposition happens faster because moisture, temperature, and material balance are honestly just easier to manage. You're not trying to heat a massive pile, you're feeding microbes just enough carbon, nitrogen, air, and water to let them do what they've always done. Break organic matter down into stable humus. The goal isn't half-rotted scraps, the goal is black humus, crumbly, dark, earthy-smelling material that holds nutrients, buffers pH, and feeds soil life long after you mix it into your garden. You don't need specialized compost bins. A simple plastic storage bin, around 10 to 20 liters in size, works perfectly. What matters is airflow. Drill or melt small holes along the sides and near the top, and a few in the lid. These holes allow oxygen in and excess moisture out. Two things that prevent your compost from turning anaerobic and, smelly. Place the bin on a shallow tray to catch any liquid. That liquid, often called compost leachate, should be diluted heavily if used at all. The real value is inside the bin, where organic matter is slowly transforming into humus. This is where, honestly, most small-space composting fails. It's all about getting the proportions right. Compost microbes need carbon for energy and nitrogen for protein. The sweet spot, really, is a carbon-to-nitrogen ratio of roughly 25 to 30 to 1. In practical household terms, that means, 2 parts browns to 1 part greens by volume. Browns include things like shredded cardboard, dry leaves, paper, and straw. Greens, on the other hand, include vegetable scraps, fresh leaves, and garden trimmings. For a 10-liter bin, a reliable starting mix is about 6 liters of browns, 3 liters of greens, and 1 liter of finished compost or garden soil to introduce microbes. Moisture matters just as much as ratio, honestly. When you squeeze a handful, it should feel like a wrung-out sponge, damp but not dripping. If it's too wet, oxygen disappears. If it's too dry, the microbes go dormant. From scraps to black humus, here's the step-by-step process. First, start with a layer of browns at the bottom to absorb moisture. After that, add a layer of greens, then sprinkle a thin layer of soil or finished compost on top. Keep repeating these layers until the bin is about 2/3 full. As you go, lightly moisten each layer, then close the lid loosely. Once every 7 to 10 days, open the bin and gently mix the contents. This helps redistribute moisture, introduces oxygen, and prevents those compacted zones from forming. If you ever smell something sour or rotten, well, that's a sign of excess moisture, or maybe too many greens. So just add some browns and mix it up. Within 4 to 6 weeks, you'll notice the material darkening significantly. After 6 to 8 weeks, you should have crumbly, dark humus with a nice earthy smell. At that point, it's no longer just compost, it's soil food. Black humus builds structure, water retention, and long-term fertility, but plants also benefit from readily available nutrients and growth signals, especially during those periods of active growth. This is exactly where FPJ comes in. Fermented plant juice isn't fertilizer in the conventional sense. It's actually a biological extract rich in enzymes, amino acids, and plant growth compounds. So, Think of compost as the pantry and FPJ as a fresh meal. FPJ works best when made from plants already thriving in your environment. For vegetative growth, leafy plants like comfrey, pumpkin vines, sweet potato leaves, or even vigorous weeds are ideal. For flowering and fruiting support, plants like banana stem, papaya leaves, or flowering weeds work well. The ratio is simple and exact: 1 part fresh plant material to 1 part brown sugar by weight. Chop the plant material finely, mix thoroughly with the sugar, and pack it loosely into a jar until it's about 2/3 full. Cover the opening with cloth and let it ferment in a shaded area for 5 to 7 days. As fermentation progresses, liquid will form. Strain it, store it in a sealed container, and keep it out of direct sunlight. Properly made FPJ can last months. So, here's the thing. More FPJ does not mean better results. Overuse can actually stress your plants and the soil biology, which is definitely not what we want. The standard dilution, whether you're a beginner or an experienced gardener, is 1 to 500. That's about 2 milliliters of FPJ per liter of water. For a small garden bed, say around 5 square meters, 5 liters of this diluted solution is enough. And for containers, just apply until the soil is evenly moist, not soaked. It's best to use FPJ as a soil drench rather than a foliar spray, especially if you're just starting out. You'll want to apply FPJ once every 7 to 10 days during active growth. Yep, that's it. Consistency matters far more than frequency. When you combine mature micro-compost with properly diluted FPJ, you end up creating a system where soil biology and plant physiology actually work together. The humus provides habitat and slow-release nutrition, while the FPJ supplies signals and soluble compounds that plants can immediately use. Gardeners often notice deeper green leaves, stronger stems, improved flowering, and better resilience to stress. These aren't miracles, they're signs of a functioning soil ecosystem. Most problems come from impatience or excess. Too many greens, too much water, sealed bins, or undiluted FPJ are the usual culprits. Composting and fermentation are biological processes. When you respect the organisms doing the work, they reward you. When you rush them, they push back. Why this matters for small space gardeners is pretty important. Micro-composting isn't a compromise, it's a refinement. It teaches you to observe, adjust, and work with natural processes instead of overpowering them. Whether you're growing in pots, balconies, raised beds, or small plots, this system scales beautifully and sustainably. At Soil Sage Chronicles, the goal isn't just to grow plants, it's to grow understanding. Healthy soil is built, not bought, and even the smallest space can produce incredible results when biology is respected. If you take one thing from this guide, let it be this: size does not limit soil quality, knowledge does. With a simple bin, the right ratios, and thoughtful use of FPJ, you can create living soil that supports healthy plants season after season. If this article helped you see composting and soil care in a new way, make sure to subscribe to Soil Sage Chronicles, share this with a fellow gardener, and keep growing smarter, not harder.